Hey, what's up guys? My name is Gian, welcome to Funker Tactical, and on this episode I've got two amazing subject matter experts I am proud to call my friends. Now the first guy is Kenny Killer B, Big B Jr. He is a Muay Thai instructor, he's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and he's a former Navy SEAL.
Access from here. I can use blunt force trauma.
The other cat is my homeboy, Ajahn Buck Grant. He's obviously an Ajahn in Muay Thai, he's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Sensei Eric Paulson, and he is now a government combatives contractor training Tier 1 operators. Now, while you may want to see him rappelling out of helicopters and causing all sorts of explosions, this video is actually a little bit more exciting, for me anyway. They're here to give us training tips so that we can better allocate our training time, our training goals, and our training focus. This video is presented in 3 parts. In the first part, I asked them how do we exactly know when we are ready to take our training to the next level. Now, I know that may sound like a really simple and easy question that you may already know the answer to, but hearing it from these professionals may either validate your suspicions or point you in the right direction. So let's have a listen.
I think number one, success in learning is very, very important. Giving enough pressure so that 70 to 80% of the reps are successful is extremely important before increasing intensity. Often people will get the drill a couple of times and they'll go from 0 to 100 and then shut the person completely down. And as far as the psychology of learning, if you shut someone down too early, then they won't be able to assimilate and receive the information. So my rule of thumb is always 70 to 80% success ratio, and then once you have that, then you can start increasing the intensity. Once that ratio starts dropping down to like 40-30%, you have to take the intensity off so that we can get back to the success ratio, and then over a period of time, we can continue to ramp up the skills.
You're setting them up for success.
Yeah, you have to in the beginning. You have to with anything. Think about anytime when you train a child. If you want a child to get good at something, one of the best ways to get them good at it is put them in a position of success first. And then slowly but surely start to increase the resistance with whatever the thing is. And you're not lying to them. You're not telling them that this is going to work like this all the time, but you can't put them into complete failure first. Otherwise, they will psychologically and mentally start to shut down. And then once people start shutting down, there's no information coming in.
Guys, I hope you found that answer to be interesting. The next question I asked relates to cognitive biases, or the potential for developing cognitive biases in the training environment, specifically during the pressure testing phase. Now, all fighters are expected to pressure test or quality control the knowledge that comes into their orbit. But this very process, this critical process, is actually a breeding ground for intellectual inbreeding and developing false conclusions. So, while the exercise of pressure testing may be a valid one, here are the guys to point you in the right direction to make sure that you don't actually develop cognitive and training biases in this very critical process. Let's have a listen together.
Like Buck intelligibly said earlier, the psychology of the training. Again, there's 4 phases of training. Okay, you go through unconscious incompetency. You don't know what you know, what you don't know. You go through conscious incompetency. Now you're aware of what you don't know. Now it's conscious competency. Now you can do it, but you got to do it slowly. And then there's unconscious competency, muscle memory. And again, I've talked about this in other videos. The conscious mind moves at 40 bits per second. So it's slow. It's highly intelligent, but it's slow. The subconscious mind moves at 40 million bits per second. So it's very fast. So while you're assimilating and learning those details, as he said, okay, you have to do it very slow in an environment where you can have a success rate and take your time, okay? And then when you start to assimilate it, and what he's talking about, that gauge, a simple way to that gauge of 70% success, it's allowing you to think through and problem solve until it becomes a muscle memory. Once it becomes a muscle memory, then you can escalate it to where the problem solving becomes more challenging until they can do it at full speed. And a simple way to put that is that the feeder is the leader, whether that's with blades, the person that's giving it to you, you want to make sure they have that 70% success rate. The feeder is the leader to make sure when you're in that conscious competency that you're assimilating, because as soon as you start to get stressed, you just do what you knew to do before. Therefore, if you haven't assimilated it, you'll go back to whatever you were doing. The purpose of training is a change of behavior. And we want to change the behavior to the technique. So you have to assimilate it first, add enough stress to where they can actually be pressure tested, but learn it. And then once they've assimilated it and you can do it at whatever capacity, escalating, stress inoculated, escalating pressures, then you can keep doing that. And they then under stress over time are able to do that at full-blown capacity.
Now this process is utilized by mom and pop dojos and elite fighting forces all over the world. This training methodology works, but is it a linear progression? Meaning to say, once I've confidently learned how to run, is there still a value in walking or even crawling again? Let's hear what the guys have to say about that.
It's all
crawl, walk, run. Do I ever go back to crawl?
all the greats do it all the time.
Absolutely.
What's the purpose? Like, what benefit does it give?
I mean, from my experience, that the technique might be the same, but you're different. So when you first learn something, you know, you won't. What's the old saying is that you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. So as I am as a beginner, I assimilate the technique from wherever vantage point I'm at as a beginner. As I become more advanced, I'm more prepared to see things that I didn't see before. So I'll see little nuances. There's a perfect example of what you showed with the mount escape and hiding the foot. I've done jiu-jitsu for 20 years, and I'm sure I may have seen that before, but I wasn't ready to see it before. And now that I see this new technique, I have to go back to doing it slow to make it an unconscious decision to do that. Otherwise, I'll just continue to do it the way I've always done, which may or may not be working, might be working for me fine. But if I get mounted with a black belt at his caliber, I'm gonna need every little advantage that I can get, which means I'm gonna have to slow down and re-assimilate a new thing, which may not even be a new thing. It's gonna be new for me.
Each time that I train, and that's a great point that he makes, essentially that's the old adage, when the student is ready, the master will appear. That can happen on a nuance level. So a lot of times when we train people, they're already highly experienced, but you give them one nuance. And each time you assimilate that nuance, that adds a different level of stress, and it can, just one little thing can put you in stress and you're not learning. Your mind shuts down like he talks about and you don't absorb it. I didn't increase the probability of survivability. And the other thing is that skills are diminishing. So every day, Michael Jordan did free throws. One of the greatest of all times, Larry Bird. Doesn't matter who you are, you have to continue to do that or they diminish. And like he said, you're not the same player. So you start to see nuances and you maintain it and then you improve it. And that's a never-ending process. That's brilliant.
Imagine that.
All right, guys, so that concludes the interview. I sincerely hope that the viewers here at Funker Tactical find value in this kind of material. If you did, please, let's have a discussion in the comments below. I want to know what you think of these videos, what you thought about the specific things that they talked about. In the comments also, let me know if you've heard these things before. I know we hear things over and over again, but I, for one, appreciate when it's been some time and a reminder seems to just come at the perfect moment. So I hope that perfect moment happened for some of you. My name is Gian. Guys, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't already subscribed, just a reminder that really hope to earn your subscription, really helps us out. And for the people who have subscribed for like a really long time, who have been here from like day one, yo, I just wanna say, much love, for real. Thanks, homie. I really appreciate that. Thanks for sticking it out. I know it hasn't been easy. The variety of content at Funker Tactical is quite incredible, actually. There isn't just one guy and one guy there. It's just like, we're really trying to represent the totality of fighting, which I know can be difficult because sometimes you love Instructor Zero and you want to see more Instructor Zero, or you know, you love Call Sign 66 and you want to see more Call Sign 66. I promise this is a part of a cycle. We are harmonizing the tactical community with the combatives and the martial arts community and with the general health and wellness and athletic performance communities. And that means there are going to be periods of time where you don't get to see your favorite dude, but I promise you this is a cycle. The world goes on It goes round and round, and I hope that we get to see some of those talents pop up on Funker Tactical once again.